Hello guys, Bushcraft family back again with another podcast. This podcast is going to be about survival. How a man survived 71 days in Australia's Outback. Police in Australia are baffled by the case of a man who claims to have survived in the outback for 2.5 months on a diet of frogs, snakes, and lizards after a mysterious attack. Workers on a remote cattle station across from Ricky Megee, 35, last Tuesday, Mr. Megee, who had believed to be from Queensland, was suffering from severe malnutrition and exposure. He had told rescuers that the last thing he remembers was his car breaking down on January 23rd while he was driving from Buntine Highway near the border between the Northern Territory and the Western Territory. Some reports suggest that Mr. Megee was drugged after giving a lift to a stranger and later came around to find himself being paused by dingoes. For those who don't know what a dingo is, it's like a wild dog that they have in Australia. He told the ranchers that he had survived by catching frogs, lizards, and snakes, and by drinking water from a dam where he had built a basic shelter. Despite his efforts, he lost more than half his body weight during the 10-week ordeal. Mark, who manages the cattle station, said the area was one of the most isolated places in Australia, adding that Mr. Megee had to weather to thank for his survival. Meaning if it happened any other time, like during the hot times, the summer times, he probably would not have made it. It's probably not too bad out there if you've got a hardy constitution, which he obviously does. Mr. Clifford said it's the middle of the wet season at the moment, so he had enough water to keep himself in a decent state. So it's not as hard as people think. And there's a lot of frogs and snakes and lizards about. They don't give you much nutrition, but they give you enough. Still, he was 105 kilos, which is probably around 230, 235 pounds before it happened, and was 48 kilos afterwards. So he lost half his body weight in those short weeks. Mr. Megee was taken to the Royal Darwin Hospital, where he spent a few days before discharging himself. Mr. Clifford, who visited him in the hospital, said he had been stunned by the speed of Mr. Megee's recovery. I saw him last week when he'd just been admitted. He looked like a skeleton then, but I saw him on TV last night and looked completely different. The strange story of Mr. Megee has gripped Australia, not least because of the mystery it seems to be deepening. Police cannot find his car, nor they discovered anything that suggests that the crime was committed. A spokeswoman for the Northern Territory Police said it has been ascertained that this man spent a considerable amount of time in this area. The investigation so far found no evidence to suggest any criminal offenses have been committed. Police are still trying to locate the man's vehicle. Now, this guy spends all this time, 70 days, living in a grass shelter, eating frogs and lizards and snakes. And they say there's no crime that has been committed. His vehicle is missing. I don't know. Mr. Clifford, who has managed the station for 18 months, admitted last night that he still did not know what to make of the skeleton figure who came stumbling out of the Outback 10 days ago. There are many different stories going around here that we've heard from the police and the media, he said. I don't think it's clear to anyone what happened, and the police investigation is still running. Yes, there are many stories that has come out of this. There are stories that there was no water at all, that this man drank his own urine for those 71 days. There's a story that he picked up a hitchhiker, and the next thing he remembers is being in a half-dug grave with dingoes clawing at him, trying to get to him. There's other stories of him waking up with saran wrapped around his head and body. There is so many stories of this, and this happened in I do believe in 2006. Yeah, January of 2006. And this man survived. He lost 100 pounds in doing so, but he survived 71 days in a very harsh area. And even though this other guy suggests that it wasn't that bad, well, Mr. Clifford, the idea that he survived 71 days and lost 100 pounds in just those 71 days. Now you stop and think about it. To lose 100 pounds in a little, just a tad over 2 months. Imagine losing 100 of your pounds. And this Mr. Clifford says, oh, it was very manageable because it was the wet season. That probably helped him survive, but it was not like he was thriving out there. If he was thriving out there, he would have not lost half his body weight. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little story. True story, by the way. Please leave a comment down below. And if you'd like to hear some more of these survival type stories, please let me know. And I'll be happy to find more stories and read them out to you. Until next time, like always, God bless.